Lady Jane Grey, a name whispered with both pity and admiration. Born into a time of religious and political turmoil, she was a scholar, a devout Protestant, and tragically a pawn in a deadly game of power. Her claim to the throne was tenuous, a thread woven from ambition and fear. Yet for 9 short days, she was Queen of England. Jane's reign began on the 10th of July, 1553. It was a reign shrouded in apprehension, a young woman thrust onto a throne she never desired. Her cousin, the young King Edward VI, had died, leaving a contested will that named Jane as his successor. This act, a desperate attempt to prevent the Catholic Mary from ascending to the throne, would seal Jane's fate. From the outset, Jane's position was precarious. Her claim was contested by Mary, Edward's elder half-sister, and the rightful heir according to Henry VIII's Succession Act. The people, loyal to their rightful queen, rallied behind Mary. The whispers of rebellion grew louder, the walls of Jane's fragile kingdom closing in. Edward VI, a fervent Protestant, had sought to secure his legacy. He feared that his Catholic half-sister Mary would dismantle the religious reforms he had so passionately championed. He chose Jane, a fellow Protestant and a distant relative through his mother's line, as his heir. This decision, fueled by religious zeal, was a gamble, a dangerous move that ignited the tinderbox of Tudor politics. Mary, however, would not be denied her birthright. Upon news of Edward's death and Jane's proclamation, she gathered support. Her cause resonated with the people, who saw her as the legitimate heir. The tide quickly turned against Jane, the whispers of rebellion transforming into a roar that shook the very foundations of her fledgling reign. Jane, isolated and fearful, found herself adrift in a sea of intrigue. The council that had initially supported her, sensing the shift in power, withdrew their allegiance. They declared Mary the rightful queen, their betrayal swift and absolute. Jane, the puppet queen, had been abandoned. Deposed and arrested, Jane was imprisoned within the Tower of London, the very walls that had once housed her own relatives. The Tower, a silent witness to centuries of royal intrigue and bloodshed, became her prison. She was a threat to Mary's security, a living symbol of defiance against her claim to the throne. Initially, Mary showed a degree of leniency. Perhaps she pitied her young cousin, caught in the crosshairs of ambition and circumstance. Jane was a pawn, a young woman manipulated by those who craved power. There was talk of sparing her life, of perhaps sending her away to live out her days in quiet obscurity. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Jane's father, however, sealed his daughter's fate. He allowed himself to be drawn into a rebellion against Mary. This act of defiance, fueled by misplaced loyalty and desperation, extinguished any hope of clemency for Jane. She became a liability, a potential figurehead for future uprisings. Her execution, Mary and her advisors decided, was a necessity, a brutal act designed to secure the Tudor dynasty. On the 12th of February, 1554, Lady Jane Grey was led out to the scaffold erected within the Tower of London. She was just 17 years old. Her life, which had held such promise, was to be cut tragically short. Accounts of her final moments paint a picture of remarkable composure. She addressed the crowd with dignity and grace, acknowledging her claim to the throne had been flawed. She was buried within the walls of the tower, laid to rest near her husband, Guildford Dudley, who had been executed just days earlier. Their remains lie together, united in death within the cold embrace of the tower. Lady Jane Grey, the 9 Days Queen, became a legend, a cautionary tale of the human cost of ambition and the ruthless nature of power. If you're enjoying our echoes of the past, please support our channel and subscribe. Thanks for watching.